tudo bem? Eu sou Luciana, da Street Smart Brasil. Would you say that someone is de São Paulo or do São Paulo? I am do Brasil or de Brasil? When is it de, do, da? When do you have to use em, no, na? So basically the question is, how do you choose the correct article and prepositions to use with the names of countries, cities, states? I hope to answer many of these questions with this lesson, and I really hope to make things much easier for you. It's actually not as difficult. We have a few rules to help us, and of course we are going to have exceptions to the rules as well. So I have divided this lesson in two parts. In the first part, we're going to talk about the use of articles. And in the second part, the use of prepositions. But then it's going to be super easy after you master the articles. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Part 1 of our lesson is the use of articles. So the first thing you need to know is how to choose the correct article to use with the names of cities, countries, states. We're talking about definite articles. In Portuguese, they are o, a, os, as. In English, you have the. So, first rule for you, cities. With cities, do not use an article. So, you will say, São Paulo is fascinating. São Paulo é fascinante. São Paulo é fascinante. So, it's not O São Paulo. I hear a lot of students saying O São Paulo, and it's understandable, but with cities, you do not use an article. Another example for you. Florianópolis is in the south of Brazil. Florianópolis fica no sul do Brasil. No article in front of the city name. Florianópolis fica no sul do Brasil. Porto Alegre has a lot of cultural life. Porto Alegre tem muita vida cultural. Porto Alegre tem muita vida cultural. Same thing happens with foreign cities. New York never sleeps. Nova York nunca dorme. Yeah, that's how we say New York in Portuguese, Nova York. Nova York nunca dorme. One more example. San Francisco is an incredible place. São Francisco é lugar incrível. São Francisco é lugar incrível. Of course, we have exceptions, and the most common exception is Rio de Janeiro, because we say o Rio de Janeiro. But think about it. Rio de Janeiro means river of January. So the same way that you need to say the Amazon River, you also need to say the river of January. So one example would be Rio de Janeiro is a wonderful city. O Rio de Janeiro é uma cidade maravilhosa. O Rio de Janeiro é uma cidade maravilhosa. Fantastic. Now we have our second rule, countries. With countries, you need to use an article. So you will say a França. In English, you just say France. But not in Portuguese, you need to use the article. You say a França, o Brasil, os Estados Unidos. Therefore, when you talk about these countries, let's see a few examples. France has many beautiful cities. A França tem muitas cidades bonitas. You need to say a França. A França tem muitas cidades bonitas. Brazil is a very big country. O Brasil é país muito grande. You need to say o Brasil. You cannot just say Brasil. O Brasil é país muito grande. One more example. The United States attracts many tourists. Os Estados Unidos atraem muitos turistas. Os Estados Unidos atraem muitos turistas. Try not to translate to English in your mind, because it doesn't make sense to say the Brazil is a very big country. But in Portuguese, with countries, you need the articles. There are exceptions, of course. One exception is Portugal. We do not use an article with Portugal, so you just say Portugal is in Europe. Portugal fica na Europa. Portugal fica na Europa. Now you might be wondering, how do you choose whether to use the masculine or the feminine article in front of the name of a country? There is a general rule. If the country ends in A, it's feminine. So I will say a Argentina, a Argentina, a Bolívia, a Bolívia, a Suécia. Suécia is Sweden. A Suécia. When the name of the country ends with a different letter, be it a vowel or a consonant, it's masculine. So I will say o Uruguai, o Uruguai, o Peru, o Peru, o México, o México. And of course there is a very big exception, which is Canada, because it's masculine. We say o Canada, o Canada. Rule number 3, continents. You always need to use the article in front of the continents, and they are all feminine. So you say a América do Sul, a América do Sul. Same thing for América do Norte, a América do Norte, a América do Norte, a América Central, a América Central, a África, a Europa, a Ásia, a Austrália, a Antártida. Rule number 4, states. Well, with the states, it's a bit more confusing because it varies. With the Brazilian states, most of them will take the masculine article. So you say, o Amazonas. Here I'm talking about the state, not the river. O Amazonas, o Pará, o Paraná. We have a complete list of the Brazilian states on our blog post, so visit streetsmartbrazil.com/blog for the complete list. There are 2 Brazilian states that take the feminine article, and they are a Bahia, a Bahia, a Paraíba, a Paraíba. And there are 9 Brazilian states that do not take any article. So one example is Alagoas. We just say Alagoas. Minas Gerais, São Paulo. São Paulo is the name of the city and of the state, and it doesn't take the article, São Paulo. Great, so part 2 of our lesson, the use of prepositions. And this is going to be much easier. Once you know if you need an article, it's much easier to decide the correct preposition to use. So let's see, we'll be talking about 2 prepositions. De, which means from, and em, which means in, on, at. So we have 3 situations. When places do not take an article, you use de or em. So you use the preposition pure. One example, São Paulo is a city. I don't use an article, so I just say São Paulo. So if I want to say Maria is from São Paulo, Maria é de São Paulo. Maria é de São Paulo. If I want to say Maria is in São Paulo, Maria está em São Paulo. Maria está em São Paulo. Second situation, with places that take the feminine article, then you use da or na. Da is the contraction of the preposition de and the article a. Na is the contraction of the preposition em and the article a. So, for instance, a Bahia. So if I want to say Ana is from Bahia, I say Ana é da Bahia. Ana é da Bahia. Ana is in Bahia. Ana está na Bahia. Ana está na Bahia. The third situation, you're probably already guessing it. When you're talking about places that take the masculine article, then you need to use do or nu. O Brasil. One example, it's a country, I need the article, it's masculine article, o Brasil. So, I am from Brazil. Eu sou do Brasil. Eu sou do Brasil. If I were to say I am in Brazil, eu estou no Brasil. Eu estou no Brasil. Sometimes you need the plural. For instance, os Estados Unidos. So if I'm to say Josh is from the United States, Josh é dos Estados Unidos. Josh é dos Estados Unidos. Josh is in the United States. Josh está nos Estados Unidos. Josh está nos Estados Unidos. You use the same reasoning when you're using the prepositions de and em with other verbs. For instance, if I want to say I like Brazil, we know that the verb gostar in Portuguese requires the preposition de, so I have to say eu gosto do Brasil. Eu gosto do Brasil. I was born in Brazil. Eu nasci no Brasil. Eu nasci no Brasil. And it's the same thing when you're talking about other nouns, which are not countries and cities. For instance, he came from work. Ele veio do trabalho. Ele veio do trabalho. One more example. The keys are on the table. As chaves estão na mesa. As chaves estão na mesa. Great! I hope that helps. Visit our blog. I have a quick quiz there so you can test what you just learned. So visit streetsmartbrazil.com/blogs. I wanted to say one more thing. Don't feel frustrated if you still make mistakes with this. When you're in the middle of a conversation, your brain is processing everything too fast. So it's just natural that sometimes your brain will still let the wrong preposition slip. It's okay, it's not a big deal. So have fun, practice your Portuguese and have a blast with it. Thank you so much. Muito obrigada for watching this video, and visit us on Facebook and join our community. We constantly post colloquial vocabulary, music, videos, and news about Brazil there. Muito obrigada. I'll see you soon. Tchau, tchau.